Hello everyone, welcome to Real Stocks. We are going to discuss the stock market today and what is turning out to be a very bullish stock market. Looks like all of the FUD in the stock market has basically evaporated at this point in time, and we have a very good market going on right now, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get right to some charts. Let's take a look at, first of all, QQQ, which is an ETF for the Nasdaq. And this thing is on fire, moving into all-time highs, really doing good. Volume here fairly healthy, just moving higher, just marching higher. You can see here's the 10-day moving average. Respecting the 10-day moving average is very healthy, especially for an index. The Nasdaq doesn't do it that often. You can see here, my chart only goes back that far, but only respecting the 10-day moving average at a few number of key points. Look at this nice big run here. Straight up moving average on the 10-day. You can anticipate this to go higher until it stops, and then we'll get a nice little pause in the market. But right now, it's full steam ahead. We had good volume today. Even after a big selling day like we had yesterday, the volume looking very good. Let's take a peek here. Come on. All right, there we go. So here's the big volume sell day yesterday. Bigger volume sell day a few days ago, coming right back with a nice big green volume bar. Now these aren't sell bars to be too concerned with. The market does have to distribute from time to time. Mutual funds, pension funds do have to sell stock all the time. They sell stock every day. They buy stock every day. That's their business. And so you can't be too mad at distribution into highs. There's a lot of people here that think the market's a little bit overheated. And I don't necessarily think they're right at all. I think the market's doing very healthy. The breadth of this market is very good. It's not as big as it was a few months ago, but it's still extremely bullish. So that's a quick look at the Nasdaq. Let's take a look at some of the leading tech stocks. Facebook is one that I'm thinking about taking a position. Haven't quite finished my general option analysis, but Facebook having a very nice. See if I can get a drawing. If I can do a straight up draw here. I'm not sure if I can, but there's a very nice cup and handle forming here, and I'd like to draw that for you if I can. I'm so used to TradingView that I've basically almost forgotten how to do this. So anyway, there's a nice cup here. Here's a handle. There's also something called the double bottom that formed here in Facebook with an approximate same buy point over the peak of this high. We've broken that off of this volume candle here. While it's not above average volume, we had this egregious volume level, and I'm going to basically consider this red trend line kind of average, and we did peak that. It is not as aggressive as it should be for a traditional breakout, but it is higher volume nonetheless, and it's such a high market cap coin with all this volume down here. This was where all the accumulation happened, right down here, moving higher into all-time highs, 197.28. in Facebook. I would actually consider this moving higher up here in towards the 226 level. Would be in the most immediate profit target zone for Facebook, looking very healthy. And not to mention, we can take a look at Netflix, which is still pumping into all-time highs. You can see my chart right here actually hitting my target, which I posted all the way back here. Almost hitting my target, excuse me. I have my target at 409, it's at 392. The volume in Netflix is tremendous. Look at this volume. There's people that have been waiting to buy that are now leaning into the market really hard, and you're going to see that in the next few charts. This is very bullish. The best buys were down lower. I'm not so sure if you can buy Netflix up in this particular area. Already up 16%. It's a little too far gone. I would not be buying Netflix up here, but what a tremendous run it's been having and showing us the strength of the true market leaders. And speaking of market leaders, one that hasn't really been leading but looks like it's going to start is Tesla here. Look at that. Don't know what happened there. But let's start on the daily chart, move out to the weekly to give you some perspective. I've got a bunch of lines in Tesla. The last buy in Tesla, my fiance, I recommended her buy Tesla here at about the 250 level. That's actually a little high. So she did buy Tesla, I think, between 255 and 260 by the time she actually pulled the trigger. And that worked out really well. Already up over $100 higher at about 357. So maybe she's up $100 higher. But the volume here has just been spectacular. I can only attribute this to, number one, some bulls coming in from the sidelines that were waiting, and number two, Tesla has a 30% short float last time I checked, which was a couple days ago, and this has to be some shorts covering based on the news that Tesla is going to be profitable into Q3, Q4, and with such a high short float, what that means is that in order to cover those shorts, if you don't have an expectation that the stock's going to go lower, you have to buy the stock in order to eliminate that short position. And that's what everyone is doing here in Tesla, is they're basically covering their butts, removing that short position and moving higher. And this is called a short squeeze right here, ladies and gentlemen, from 300 to 357 in about a week. That's very bullish action. And this is definitely has a possibility to continue. I do have a few lines drawn on my charts. Let's go out to the weekly chart in Tesla if you may be interested. So you can see here we had a big long, so each one of these hash marks is a year. I just thought I'd point that out. Each one of these dotted vertical hash marks is a year. And we had 1, 2, 3 years of consolidation in Tesla before breaking that and moving out into new highs, having a nice run here from the 180 level all the way up here to the 380 level, giving a nice percentage gain there. And what we see here is I'm doing a measured move off of, actually this is a little bit exaggerated. Don't know why I didn't notice that until this video, but this is kind of more the move in Tesla is right here to about the 459 level. That's pretty much where this measured move takes us, from here to here, and from here to here takes us to about 459, which is still a good $100 here up from Tesla. That I would anticipate in the long run would be a point where Tesla could get to pretty easily, to be quite frank with you. That sounds like a good run. If Tesla comes out with profitable Q3, Q4, it's off to the races, guys. Everyone that's been doubting Tesla will probably be FOMOing in at that point in time, really pushing the stock price higher. And we'll see what happens as we get here. But Tesla really looking like 450, 460 is a good point for the longer term, and showing some very good volume patterns there. GRUB, which has also been a market leader, not quite as aggressive as a little bit under the radar as GRUB has been, but you can see quite the run it had. $17 in 2016, $120 today. Just a phenomenal run in GRUB. This was on my radar back here at $41, and you can see it's just been moving pretty much non-stop. It's had a couple of bases along the way, like all good market leaders do. The stocks do have to stop from time to time, and it's been running up. It's almost getting to, it's almost out of a area where you want to buy it. So let's go down here to the daily and do a little bit of analysis. So we have kind of a cup and handle here, only up about 6%. You don't want to buy over 5% from a buy zone. So technically it's out of the buy zone. Although if you do buy it, which some of you may, because people tend to do that, you can expect a pullback of about 5 to 6% into the breakout area. That is perfectly healthy, perfectly normal. But that being said, look at the volume on GRUB. Just tremendous volume increasing coming out of the base, which is ideal. That is really what you want to see. This could move up in perpetuity, to be quite frank with you, and I wouldn't be surprised to see this at much higher price points. GRUB looking very good. Been a market leader. Looks like it's continuing to do so. And on to the last one we're going to talk about here, which is TNA, which is an ETF for the Russell. I'm sorry, it's a 3 times bull ETF for the Russell 3000. And you can see moving well into all-time highs. Decent volume. ETF, you can't take the volumes as seriously as you can with individual stocks, but they definitely do mean something. And look at all this high volume. Looks like we're poised to break out of this 3 times ETF. We can look at the Russell 2000, which this is based off of, and this really broke from this pattern May 10th. We've been in this a month now, really rallying small, and these are considered small cap stocks. Stocks that are under $250 million market cap, generally under $1 billion market cap, a vast majority of these. And when the small caps run, it means that that generally it's a risk-on scenario for the institutions, and that's very bullish for the market. With the Nasdaq in all-time highs and the Russell in all-time highs, that means the market goes higher. I don't care if the Dow's lagging. I don't care if the S&P is lagging. When you have the Russell and when you have the Nasdaq running, you basically get everything moving. So you can see Dow Jones here is kind of lagging behind the technology stocks, and that's fine. I really don't care about that. The Dow Jones is not a leading index. The Nasdaq is a leading index, and you can see the SPX, which is a form of the S&P 500. Right here you can see looking much more like the Dow Jones than the Nasdaq or the Russell. So that looking very good, or not looking very good, I should say. But the Russell 2000 and the QQQs, which is the more in line. This is a single ETF for the Nasdaq, moving it at all-time highs. Volume very good. Market's very healthy here, guys. I wouldn't let anyone FUD you out of taking a position in the stock market. Lots of money to be had here, and another market leader, which is just making tremendous profit for shareholders. Me, you know, Twitter just rocketing higher, volume very impressive. You can see these large volumes, these large areas of green volume here, just eating up shares. They're buying up Twitter by the boatload, and they're really trying not to push it higher, but they can't fake it now. They can't hide it anymore, and it's really just off to the races. This was recently added to the S&P 500, which accounts for this gap right here, and that has proven to be really good, because being in the S&P 500, a lot of high-quality mutual funds and institutional investors are now able to invest in Twitter, and that is causing this next leg of this rally in Twitter, which I would probably consider this going for hopefully the rest of the year. We've got 6 months until January, and you know, I'm looking at a potential long time. My hopeful target for Twitter has been to all-time highs. Let's go to the weekly so you can see it all in one chart. The all-time high in Twitter being 74.73. My hope coming out of this is that we get to that all-time high of 74.73. It's a little unlikely, but it is kind of feasible, to be quite frank with you, because the momentum that Twitter is seeing from a fundamental perspective is unprecedented, and coming out of this really low basing area from a technical standpoint over this 25 level with this peak here really puts you in bull mode. And you can see right here, so this peak right here, we're going to look at that, breaking up in that here on clear earnings, clear volume, pulling back into that level, not even quite touching it and respecting it, and then subsequently rolling higher on tremendous volume. Very, very bullish behavior. I would anticipate this never having another down day. While that's not feasible, I would anticipate higher prices for the short term, intermediate term, and long term. Twitter could be $100 to $200 stock in a couple of years. That's definitely a possibility for Twitter. So fundamentally it's strong, technically it's strong. When those two things line up, you've got explosive stock action. So, all right, guys, there you go. That's real stocks. Yeah, please continue to stay tuned to the channel. I know I've been promising an intro to stocks. I don't know if I can do that in a video. I may do that in a webinar on my Real Crypto channel. I'll keep you guys updated on that. I think that's something that is a little more involved and will take about an hour to an hour and a half to get you guys acclimated. But if I use some terms and you guys have some questions about it, please ask in the comments down below. I'll be more than happy to answer, especially any terminology questions. You guys need to kind of know what's what when we're talking about things. So, but thank you for joining me today. It's been a long time since my last video. I would like to thank you guys for being here, and I'll try to be more respectful of your time and do some more regular videos. So thanks for joining me here. Thank you for subscribing. And if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button, hit that alert button. You're going to make money by doing that. So thanks, guys. I'll see you next time.